getting ready to seize your first opportunity to come into the ring and start grandstanding and hot dogging, yeah!
I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
When we speak, our voices are heard. We all say, I bring it.
Welcome to Malice Smack Talk. I am your host, Masonic Vader. With me tonight is MindFreak.
What's up, everybody? Getting a little too sweet up in here after a nice, exciting weekend of wrestling.
Shoot, worn out weekend. In fact, so worn out. Marty is on assignment. He's on assignment with Coach. So for you guys who watch us every week, you just got the MindFreak and I. We're going to go back and we're going to review the weekend that was Money in the Bank with Chicago Takeover 2. We're just going to go through each of the pay-per-views, go through the matches, rank them out, and call it a day. So let's hop on right on to it. Let's start off with the first one, which is NXT Takeover 2 Chicago. If you've watched this show a lot, you know that I'm the one that talks a bunch of hype about NXT and 205. And once again, my talk was backed up by NXT. That freaking pay-per-view from the minute it started was phenomenal. Oh, phenomenal.
It absolutely was. And with a great match to start out with the tag team title match with Undisputed Era versus their names always slip my mind.
Oni Lorcan and Donnie Burch. But now let me tell you something about this, man. I wasn't hyped on this match because I'm not catching on to Undisputed Era just yet. I mean, Adam Cole's a big name out of that, and you're just kind of – and you've got obviously geez, man. There you go. It's been a long – thank you, Roderick Strong, that jumped in a little bit. But, you know, the other two guys – You're kind of catching them if you don't know them from the indie circuit. So Undisputed Era hasn't caught my attention yet. I've seen Oli Larkin and I've seen Danny Burch and I've seen them individually, and this little tag team they had formed looked pretty cool at first. But man, let me tell you, that match was great.
For me, it set the entire pace of what Takeover 2 was. Like from the minute from the get-go. Just hard hitting, hard action. The spots they were taking, it was like I was watching 205 and NXT combined as one. Like
and Danny and Orny were giving it as much as they were taking it. Like that has got to be, personally myself, because I've seen them since they've been in there, probably their best matches since they've joined on the NXT roster and they brought them over from the UK and whatnot. I was thoroughly impressed with the tag team. I'm really hoping they work on the mic skills aspect of it, because they don't do a lot of it, but they have the tag team. I mean, it's just the so weirdish looking kind of. It's like putting James Ellsworth with someone else, but James Ellsworth actually but he actually has talent and size. Yes. How about that?
Yes.
They're just two awkward looking guys that just melded so good. I'm excited to see what they do with them.
And what was interesting enough is how they came together as a tag team was very similar to how you had Sheamus and Cesaro. They kind of fought it out between the two. They had mutual respect for each other. Like, hey, let's do a tag team kind of thing. And the fact that they're a newer team and they took Undisputed Era that length, like the spots they were taking, everything they were dishing out, everything they were receiving, it was phenomenal. It was
and you could see it in the fans. Like so to even kind of like branch off for that for just a second, Chicago came with their A game. The minute that match started, the fans in Chicago were just on fire, nonstop. They were giving the love. Were. Yeah, they were awesome.
And this is it's not like spoiling anything else. This is just me, and with how well NXT is doing and how well and exciting the entire show. For pretty much the entire show, I heard nothing but like, this is awesome. I heard that more in NXT Takeover than I did with Money in the Bank. And if that's not telling you something, forever. That's telling you something. Exactly. Just let them go.
Yeah, and NXT, now remember, NXT only had 5 matches. And yet, out of those 5 matches, Yeah, out of those 5 matches, I think we got more excitement, entertainment, and quality matches than we did with all freaking, I think, 8 matches, I think almost 10, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if you count
matches that they had in MMB, MITV, Men in the Bank. So that match was awesome. Obviously, Undisputed Era did beat Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, but not only did they just barely get away with the win, but I remember the cameras keeping on the ring after Undisputed Era left, and NXT audience gave Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan a standing ovation, and I definitely see them doing something. They got they're definitely in the ranks for the NXT tag team titles. They should get another shot of it. That was an awesome match. And like I said, man, get those mic skills going. They'll be main event and rosters no time at all. That was a great match, man.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. And so then you go to match number 2, which was the match. I was waiting.
Yeah, I know you were, and I was too. My God, what a match!
Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet. And first of all, let's just talk about Velveteen Dream coming out with a little bit of a mixture of the Hulkster and Panther. Oh my God, it was great, man. He was
brilliant.
He had it. He had that. The fans eating out of his hands the minute he came on stage, man. And he comes out with the Hulkster look. I was like, oh, God, this is awesome. Ricochet comes out. He's got his thing going on, new little outfit, the lasers going. And then for like just a couple minutes, like a lot of other people have said online, they had that Hogan Rock moment where they're looking each other, and then they look to the left and the right, and the fans. Like, this was the main event, and it was only the second match.
It was. In the fact that, for me, like, I could see, The Rock and Hulk, but for me, I saw a little bit more of The Rock and Cena. And I bring that up because of the fact that, Velveteen, Cena's pretty much endorsed them, saying, this guy's going to be the future. But then on the other side, you have Ricochet say the same thing about The Rock saying the same thing about Ricochet. So the fact that you kind of see that, like, hey, this happened a couple of years ago at WrestleMania with The Rock and Cena. Now we're seeing it again in like a new personified way with Ricochet and Velveteen, and I thought it was brilliant. The match they put on, the spots, like the fact that they were doing each other's moves and all that stuff, like it was crazy.
There was a tremendous amount of athleticism I saw in this match.
Absolutely.
Which was more amazing, the fact that Ricochet being the more risk taker, the more athletic as everyone. I think after watching this match, you could actually literally put Velveteen Dream in 205 Live and he would kill it.
Oh yeah.
I'm just impressed with Velveteen. Ricochet, I love from the minute I come in here because of the fact, or he came in because of the fact of how he is, what his athletic ability is, just what he's been able to do with the fan base in a very short period of time. Velveteen Dream, the reason why I buy his shirt and the reason why I talk a lot about him is because I remember when he first came in NXT and he was this really in shape guy wearing tights that were all like American flagged out and everything. It was just like, hey, I'm this guy. And then he just flipped the switch to a freaking Prince persona. And the minute that happened, oh my God, it's amazing. And his this match by far, I would not be amazed if it's not in a top, at least talks of match of the year when it comes around to the Slammies, because it was on from the minute it started. It was nonstop. It was always on pace. The fans were always ready to go. They were standing. They were chanting. I think it was the biggest pop out of all of them.
It was, and honestly, because top 5 matches of the weekend, this one easily number 2.
Easily
number 2.
Yeah, it's even tickling number 1. I really see
and we'll get to the other match that I think is number 1, and the reason that I have that one set as number 1, but it's the same way. It can go either way with how good the Velveteen Ricochet match was compared to the other match, which we'll get to a little bit later on.
Yeah. Now what I like about, and this is where I really like about NXT, as Marty said before in the last show and everything, he is right. It's the independent, if you want to call it that, but it's only the independent of WWE. Because quite frankly, if you take NXT right now compared to a lot of independents, I'm not saying the independents don't do their job. They do. Those guys, if anyone understands that, because I played like Triple AAA freaking arena football. So I get it. When you're not getting that television time and you're fighting for a fistful of dollars and a couple free beers, man, you're busting your ass. When you compare it to the television people, though, the spots and everything, quite frankly, the way NXT has been rolling, especially after this last pay-per-view, it's probably really getting itself close to I don't want to say dominating like Raw or SmackDown or anything, but it's definitely something you're going to be talking about when you're talking about New Japan Wrestling, TNA, Ring of Honor. It's all quality. And yeah, it's coming from them, but but just imagine you're taking these guys who are stars at these other ones, bringing them to WWE, putting them in their farm system, and they're busting out pay-per-view events better than the regular shows. And Ricochet and Dream Velveteen was bar none my favorite NXT match, at least for this year, if not for the last couple of years. Bar none. It was a great match. Yeah. It lived up to its expectations.
And partly due to the credit to Triple H.
Absolutely. The man. I had to bust out this old shirt, man.
You had to, dude. It's a great one.
All right, so yeah. So the next match, now this one was, I want to say, out of all the matches, was the week match, and it was Baszler versus Cross.
Yeah.
There was a lot to it. I was really kind of excited to see what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, though, man, it really didn't fall to the expectations. I think the Nikki Cross being crazy psycho kind of ankle and stuff, I think they're pushing it too hard. I think it's taking her out of her realm.
I agree with that, because I mean there was even one point too when I thought, like, hey, you could easily put Nikki Cross into the Sister Abigail kind of setting with the Wyatt family, but now they've just pushed it a little bit too far, where they kind of need to just dial it back a little bit. I mean, it was still a decent match, but I 100% agree with you. Out of the entire NXT card, it was one of the weaker matches.
Yeah, it was a good match, but I mean, here's the problem you run into. Baszler is still new to WWE. She's still new to wrestling entertainment, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Nikki Cross has the experience, but they haven't been using her much for any angles. She hasn't been wrestling consistently. She's lost it since Sanity has actually been moved up. And she's kind of just a wandering soul in a sense. And I saw what angle they were trying to go with, but when it was all said and done, the match was pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
I will say that Baszler did have a good match, but I think the Nikki Cross angle of her being insane has gone too far, because it's taken away from her wrestling. She's a much better wrestler than what you saw in that match.
Oh, yeah.
And I really hope they find a way to be able to shed it or pull it back to where she can just get back to wrestling, because the way it's going right now is that she's starting to lose, like, to me, she's starting to lose traction in NXT. And the way that SmackDown women and Raw women are going right now, I don't think they have a place to put her. And the really sad part about that is that she's got a lot of talent, and there's a lot of talent coming underneath her right now too in NXT. So they had this little drop off in talent when Asuka left and everything. You had Bliss, and then eventually the 4 Horsewomen, and then now Asuka. So you had this drop off. Nikki Cross was one of the holdoffs. You lost Ember Moon, and she was the last of the faces. Now you got Baszler and a lot of the women that came out of the Mae Young Classic starting to take the mantle. But there's too much of a gap right now. The women's revolution in NXT has lost some steam.
It has. I mean, we were saying the same thing too around WrestleMania when they dumped half the roster. It seemed like they lost steam, but look at everything that they've done just to pick it up in all the other divisions. So I mean, it's a matter of time before we see the women's division in NXT start to pick up a little bit. But I 100% agree with what you're saying. It's without a doubt. And mind you, just to add you, like it to me, it's something I noticed too, how completely different Baszler looks when she does an interview compared to when she's in the ring. Just with her hair back up, she looks like a different person.
Yeah,
that's just me. You know what I mean, though.
But and that was to my point that from the previous show, Baszler just needs to stay away from the mic, and Baszler just needs to go out there and concentrate more on fighting and creating that. I want to say it's almost like the next China in a sense.
Yeah.
She needs to create that personality where she's not saying a lot. She's just whooping everyone's ass.
Yeah. Now,
and,
like her mic skills when she's in the ring, I agree with. But when she cuts like promos, pre-made promos and stuff like that, I think she does a better job as the regular promos than versus in mic.
Yeah, and that does help, but unfortunately, as you know, and as everyone else who watches wrestling knows, the minute you get a hot mic, that's where you can make or break your career.
Yep.
And that's where with some people, like say Brock or even China before, because China, I compare Shayna Baszler to China because when you look at the two, outside of the fact that China outweighed her by a good 40, 50 pounds, if you put them side by side, there is a distinct like they look very similar in the way they are. They're both bruisers. Baszler is obviously a better fighter, but China was just size and strength. And if you could imagine like taking that size and strength and mixing it with Baszler, she'd be unstoppable.
Oh yeah.
But when China was first in there, it was a lot of she didn't speak. She held a sign. She made jokes. She did stuff because she was part of DX when Ravishing Rick Rude, Triple H and Shawn Michaels was doing everything, right?
Degenerate.
And it happened.
Degeneration.
Exactly. And she didn't really start having the mic go to her until Ravishing Rick Rude was gone, and she felt a little bit when she got the girls,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that they can kind of back Baszler off. Like I said, find a manager for her, have her keep the belt because she's definitely an intimidating factor. But they need to find a good manager person to fight against, and I think there's some coming up that I'm really excited for her to go on. But right now, it's the women's division's kind of rough for NXT. Moving on to the two of the main events. First one was for the title: Aleister Black versus Lars Sullivan. Good match. Good match. Couple stumbles here and there. Lars at the end, almost, there was a kick he missed and he kind of fell with it and everyone saw it. But, you take that out and it was still a good match.
Oh, it absolutely was.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to do one of those future predictions right now. You get through when it's all said and done. First thing that Lars Sullivan's going to do after they bring him out of NXT, Braun Strowman.
Oh yeah!
Wouldn't you love to see a Braun Strowman Lars Sullivan match,
or even Braun and Samoa Joe for that matter too? Like I could see that too because Braun's came to mind, but also Samoa did at the same time.
Sure, yeah. Lars Sullivan. I remember the first time seeing him in NXT. He was just out of nowhere. It was just a match. He was just some guy. He was doing I can't remember who his first match was, but I just remember him coming out. And dude, big hulking guy. I'm like, holy crap! They need to do something like that. They gotta keep him. He's not heavy machinery doughy. He's big and strong, and he actually has some moving parts.
Yeah,
he can
move.
He can really get into it. And recently, he's starting to go up to the top rope and doing. Well, I don't want to call it a flying headbutt as much as it's just falling off the top rope and dropping that freaking.
Falling with style.
Yeah. Falling with style. Yeah, absolutely dropping that 50-pound freaking medicine ball of a head on somebody.
Right.
Yeah, Aleister Black really did a good job carrying the match.
He did.
And Lars Sullivan, to his credit, did a very good job. You definitely saw some spots, though, where he did mess up. But I think all in all, the fans let it go because as the match went the entire time, it was a good match. It was exactly what they were pushing and is what the fans wanted.
Yeah, it is. And to the point, I did like Aleister's intro when he came up, the rising up part of it, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of almost like Brood and Undertaker mixed together, Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do now with Aleister Black and who they're going to push the fight for him next. I mean, obviously the fans are going to be shooting for because right now I think the hot hands are Velveteen Dream. I think Ricochet is the hot hand, but I don't think they want to necessarily give it to him yet because I think Velveteen's been there, so longevity should go his way.
Mm-hmm.
Ricochet's just joining; he's got plenty of time.
Oh, he has
and the way it's looking, and how you mentioned it at the beginning about Triple H taking over 205, if 205 hits a 2-hour mark, man, people like Ricochet and everything is going to find a home, and they're going to blow that place apart, man.
Ricochet and Buddy Murphy. Oh my God, yes.
and once again, Velveteen Dream too, man. I mean,
he could easily draw. He could easily make weight and go into 205 too, and that would be exciting too.
Absolutely, yeah, man. I'm going back to Velveteen Dream, man. The thing that's making him great, man, is his mic skills, dude. Mic skills are top notch. Probably the best one on the mic right now in NXT. Now, second match and the final match of the night, which I really do think was the match people have been wanting to see for a while. Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. First of all, I'm going to give credit to Johnny Gargano coming out as Captain America. That was pretty sick.
Amazing.
Which reminds me, hold on a sec before you jump on that. Malice Smack Talk is obviously brought to you by Malice Corp. All things nerd and geek right there at the top left-hand corner. You got to check them out. Live podcasts every Friday night. I guarantee my producer hearing this, he might actually throw a dib to us this Friday night because of the fact that Johnny Gargano came out in Captain America garb. So check those guys out. Check out all the other podcasts that we do there. Quest for 100, Nerd Mosh Pit, you name it, we do it. It's awesome. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. But check those guys out. Thank you very much for Malice Corp. Back to the show. Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. I've been doing the most of the talking. I already know where you rank this show without even you saying it, this match. Tell me about it.
You have to understand, too, with this match, you have the history between them, and that's what kind of made this match more intense, was given that history that's kind of going back and forth between them. But yeah, absolutely, this match for me, and it go number one, but it could easily go back and forth between Ricochet and Velveteen because of how good it was, and it's exactly what it was. It was a Chicago street fight, plain and simple.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to go more hardcore. Like I thought there was going to. People were talking Crimson Mask or not. And I thought it was going to be an ECW match, and you know what? I'm glad it didn't.
Oh, yeah,
I'm glad it didn't go blood.
It reminded me a lot of like some of the old like hardcore tag title match back in the day during the Attitude Era, and that's why I absolutely loved it because of how good it was.
Yeah, and you mentioned the background with them and everything. I just when I watched this now I watched this this pay-per-view with my son. It was the first time we actually watched the pay-per-view together. And so this is his first experience. So we've seen it. He saw everything. He saw everything from great matches to straight hardcore fighting. Mm-hmm. And I even got a little nervous a couple times when I'm watching this match. I was like, man, maybe I should push my kid out of the way for a minute and say, come go play with some Legos or something. But I was just in awe with the match. You could definitely see the personal connection in the match. Like you could definitely tell, regardless if they're rivals or whatever, the personal connection, the outside ring connection really comes through. And with the amount of crazy shit that they did in that match, like if you guys follow us on Twitter, you know that there was one small video we posted from all weekend, and it was the chance or the Johnny Gargano freaking taking Tommaso Ciampa off the top of the sound box equipment there onto the tables, and there was nothing underneath those tables except concrete. And to see that kind of dedication and that into the match, holy crap. Like I thought someone got broke on that match. That move right there alone, I thought someone was done. And they were still able to come out. The ending, I kind of didn't like the endings much. I was hoping it would go a little bit better. It's not that I'm saying I wanted Johnny Gargano to win, because in a sense I did. I think he's taken a lot of that flack that, you know, he took it. The good guy should win on the last one. And obviously I see why he let Tommaso Ciampa take it at the end, because it's exactly what it needs, because it keeps the rivalry going. Mm-hmm. The whole taking the ring off and spitting on it and throwing it. Holy crap, dude. We're going to see some more out of this.
Oh, we definitely are. And I can't wait. And I can't wait to both of them make it up to the main roster and have some just bring it up to the main roster, have more feuds there, man. It's just, it's going to be epic.
Yeah, that match right there drained. I was drained at that point. After seeing everything, the Baszler match, so going into the recap and everything, the Baszler match was the only downside to the match, to the whole night, I thought. It actually did kind of drain me. But, man, between Aleister Black and then eventually the Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano match, good God. That I was ready to watch Money in the Bank right there on the spot.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. I was like, why can't we just have Money in the Bank now? Give it to me now.
Yeah. No, I was there, man. With once again, they proved my point. Right now, out of all the shows that WWE has, when they do their pay-per-views, right now, NXT takeovers, every time they do them, shadow the
shadow.
WWE match. Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, they shadow them. Like you watch NXT, and then you have to come out the next night and watch WWE. And I can't recall. No, it was actually Drew McIntyre tweeted after that show. I hope the WWE, in effect, they said, hope WWE Raw roster watched NXT, because if you didn't, you're in trouble. Because those guys on that roster are coming for your spots. It's like watching a professional sports team, and you've got all these freaking guys that have been on there for 5-10 years, making billions of dollars, whatever it is, and they're just skating by, and then you got the freaking practice squad kicking the crap out of them. That's literally what that's saying. Is like, if they don't start picking up their game, people like Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, they're taking your jobs. They're taking your jobs, and I'm looking forward to it. And that goes for the people producing them, man. Triple H is on fire with NXT. He's now taken over 205. He's also, remember, he still has the Euro block, and they have the UK tournament coming again. And they've already made some good matches on there. They've got let's see, the guy from Wolfgang is going to be going against Adam Cole for the Northwestern Heavyweight Championship, or the North America Heavyweight Championship. Yep. They're running a tournament with some returners from the UK and some new guys, where Pete Dunne's going to fight the night after.
Yep.
And they got UK. So the way this thing's lining up, and with their $1 billion SmackDown contract, it looks like WWE Network's going to have more wrestling than it is going to have shows, which is awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I am too. I am 100% looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So let's switch gears. Well, actually, no, we can't switch gears. We got to give our top 3 matches. I'm going to let you go first on this. Give me your top 3.
I'm going to give you my top 2 because because I have 5 matches that I would say are the top matches. 3 of them were for Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Top two, and it goes back and forth with Ricochet and Velveteen Dream at number 2, and it's the Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, the street fight. That'd be the number 1 match of the entire weekend. But also going back and forth, I mean, I have arguments on both, on why that one and why also Ricochet and Velveteen Dream were the number 1 match of the weekend.
Yeah. I'm going to give the 3 because of the fact that we're going to be talking about Money in the Bank. But once again, I'm a hairline. I'm literally a razor's blade dance. I'm putting Ricochet and Dream first. I just thought it was a great match as a whole. It lived up to everything.
I see why. Believe me, I see why.
Yeah. And it's not saying anything to Ciampa or Gargano. If that Dream Ricochet match didn't happen, we'd be talking Ciampa and Gargano. That's number 2. But like you said, it's a razor's edge. It could go one way or the other. If you only had one pay-per-view match with 2 matches and that was it, I would pay $50 to watch that.
Me too.
Yeah. And then my 3rd match was, and surprisingly, because I was expecting another match, was actually the tag team Undisputed Era versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Yep. And it's not because of Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era are great, and they're going to be there for a while. It'll be interesting when 4 of them are wrestling again. But really what made that match awesome was Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Yep. And I'm looking forward to seeing more matches with them.
Absolutely.
Now, for you guys who are watching this show, please, while you're watching it, put your comments in down below. Let us know what you guys think, what your top 3. Tell us if we're right. Tell us if we're all dumbasses here. No answers wrong or right. I mean, obviously, we are fans to tell us what we're thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to call us dumbasses, then I got 2 words for you.
Suck it!
I'm waiting for a good spot to put that in there one day.
Yeah, damn it. We just probably lost a couple followers. All right, moving on.
DX.
All right, so let's head over to Money in the Bank. So the 4-hour pay-per-view. Woohoo! Let me see. Let me make sure I get this right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, technically 10. There was 11 total matches. All right. Now, for the sake of not running into the next day and actually not being able to watch SmackDown live because we're still talking about this, let's go ahead and we'll put in what we can as fast as possible, but also try to give every match as much credit as possible. The first one was obviously the match they had in the pre-show, the Good Brothers versus the Bludgeon Brothers.
I mean, we knew what was going to happen, but hopefully that this keeps this going up for a while, because I do want to see the Good Brothers being back on top of the tag team division.
Now, I will say this: Good Brothers actually had a fight. They actually had fight.
They did.
We've seen the Bludgeon Brothers just run through people nonstop, no questions asked. Didn't matter who they were.
Even the Usos.
The Good Brothers gave a good fight.
They did.
Absolutely.
They did. And that's why I'm saying that I don't think this was like one of those one-off, like, oh, they're the contenders. No, I think we're seeing the start of a program. The fact that the Good Brothers were able to, put up that fight, something that Rowan and Harper haven't had in a while, especially as tag team divisions, it's going to set up something that could probably cultivate at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and I'm hoping now the Good Brother. I give jokes about the Good Brothers because, like I said, I remember Festus, and I just still have a hard time like trying to separate the two still.
Yeah.
But excuse me. But I'm hoping that the Good Brothers will start taking an angle where they get away from the nerd and stuff like that, and really just start going back to what they did when they first came in and just start kicking the crap out of
being up John Cena. Sorry.
Yeah. No. You know what? I'll take that, man. I think they were much better. I think they need to change up their finishing move too. The Magic Killer is a good move, but I think they got to come up with something different. I think they need to start changing their repertoire slightly, because as I keep watching their matches, it's becoming robotic.
Yeah,
I think it's still a lot of the same stuff, and they're a hell of a lot better wrestlers than what's going on. So I'm hoping that
especially when you look back at some of their New Japan and Wrestle Kingdom matches that they've had. And I could see that too. Yeah.
Right now I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, they're still good, and I'm still a fan. I mean, us bald guys got to stay together. What's up? But I know what you mean. Compared to where they were when they first came in and when they were Raw tag team champs to where they're now, I see some similarities, but more so recently, I see a lot of the similarities happen with them, and they kind of do need to bust it up just a little bit.
Yeah, they're doing too much of the mic skills. And right now, SmackDown's got too many tag teams that have too good mic skills.
Yeah.
Sorry. You've got New Day, obviously. You got the Usos. Those guys alone can carry the tag team division just on mic skills alone.
Yeah.
So to have the Good Brothers living more off the comedy act, it's really kind of pulling away from them. And
it really is. I mean, when you think about it too, I mean, they have some decent mic skills too. But I like them better when they're the fighters, the grapplers. Leave, some of the mic stuff to the New Day, the Usos, even the Bar at times too. Mm-hmm. When you think about it, the Bar is kind of that middle ground.
Yeah.
They have the mic skills, but they also have the fight skills. And
absolutely.
The Bludgeon Brothers, they have the regular promos. They don't really do much mic stuff. They just do the promos, scare people, and just,
Yeah, absolutely. Mic skills only come back when they go with the Bray Wyatt again.
And I don't care what anybody says. He's one of the top best mic guys out there.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, because we're not talking about Raw. No. Let's get into the matches. So the first match, holy crap, the first match. Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. I don't know what to say. I don't know what the hell they were smoking when they made this lineup. To put those guys first was just dumb. I'm giving credit to Big Cass. I've been dumping on him the entire time. Good match. I think it is actually probably one of the better matches of the night. Mm-hmm. And Big Cass came out and actually brought his A game, which was good.
Yep.
It's the reason why the match was good. You knew Daniel Bryan was going to be coming. I mean, that's the thing about Daniel Bryan is right now I don't think you can go wrong with Daniel Bryan in any match right now because he's got 3 years of pent up like holy crap, I need to get back out and do my thing. And like my son and I got to watch a little bit of this yesterday, and the first thing he said when he saw Daniel Bryan coming out was like, man, the fans love him. He no matter what anybody says, Daniel Bryan is the most over person in WWE in the last decade. Yeah, easily. And he's won it. He's earned it.
He's earned it. And I'm not dissing him or anything. He has earned it for everything that he's done, everything that he's been through, and the fact that he had to retire early, but then to be able to be cleared to come back, and the fans still love him just as much as the day he left. Mm-hmm. Just goes to show you how much of an impact he has, not just in WWE, but I think wrestling all around.
And it goes to show you that you don't need somebody up in the offices pushing you to make it happen. He didn't have that. They try to use him as a side gig thing, as a no movement, and then as Kane's tag team partner going through
Team Hell,
Team Hell No, going through freaking psychiatrist visits and stuff. I mean, it had all this comedy going with him, and ultimately he won the fans. And that whole yes movement thing, I mean, it superseded wrestling as a whole, where you would go and see at college events them doing the yes movement, the yes chants and stuff. I mean, it's literally this generation Stone Cold Steve Austin in a sense. It's really gone past that. Yeah, no, I'm going. Yeah. He's earned it. He's earned it. It's just
and the fact that even when it's not his show, the crowds will chant yes or no, the way he does it when they want to agree or disagree with something. So it just goes with how much impact he has with the WWE. It's hard to put into words.
He probably had the biggest pop of the night.
He did.
And it's close up there with Seth Rollins as well, because we'll get into his match in a little bit too. But Big Cass, I'm giving you props, man. I've been dumping on you since you came back. You stepped up last night. You had a great match with one of the great future Hall of Famers. That match would not have been as good as it was if it wasn't for the fact that you came out there and did your thing. And I think what made it good for Big Cass is he didn't come out there talking smack and trying to use the mic. He just came out there to be what we expected Big Cass to be, was just kicking the crap out of people.
Yep.
And once again, it goes to show that Daniel Bryan could take those shots. He took some serious shots. He hit the right side of the ring.
Well, but Cass took some big shots too, man.
Oh man, his knee is probably wrecked again, dude. Those shots he took on the ring post, those didn't look like those gave too much, man. No. He did, but he took them and he gave them, and both those guys. I wouldn't mind seeing another match with them. Just get rid of all the mic skills and just go right to the match again.
And I mean, we may see something more out of it. We may not. Honestly,
I think it's done.
I think it's done too. I mean, with how good it was, you could have extended it maybe one more if you needed, another little mini story with Daniel. In the sense of having Cass win Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the outcome as it was, Daniel won, and we're interesting to see what new storylines that are going to happen here tomorrow night.
Miss.
Hey,
I'm hoping, man. SummerSlam's coming around.
Yeah.
All right, so we've gone through Daniel Bryan, Big Cass. Next match: Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn.
It went exactly how I expected it to go.
It went exactly how the promos went for it too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Garbage, hot garbage.
Like honestly, why couldn't you have had that match in the pre-show and put the Good Brothers and the Bludgeon Brothers in the main card?
Absolutely. And this is the thing I was kind of afraid about with Bobby Lashley. That was not a good rivalry to start him off with.
No, it wasn't.
I think what happened is the writers saw what was going on with the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens show and thought that Sami Zayn had something going with that, when in all honesty it was actually Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn was just kind of filling in.
It was the Kevin Owens show featuring Sami Zayn, not the Sami Zayn show featuring Kevin. And that's how it's always been. I mean, even looking back with Kevin Owens, going back to him with Jericho.
Yep.
And all that stuff, it's.
I'm not dumping on Sami Zayn. He's a good wrestler and everything, but Bobby Lashley, and I said this when he came back. Bobby Lashley's mic skills are not there. His physical skills are there, but he's never had mic skills. And this time around, they've tried to do the mic skills, and they're slightly better. And I'm meaning slightly better to a point where he still speaks like a jobber. And what they needed with this match is they needed Sami Zayn to kind of hold the mic skills, and then Bobby Lashley was supposed to go all out and just destroy him because he's just dumping on his family, and he wins with three suplexes, three delayed suplexes. That's how he won the match.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley, one of the strongest guys, one of the most athletically gifted guys on the show.
He's the dominator.
Yeah.
He's the dominator. How are you supposed to dominate somebody with three standing vertical suplexes?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's nice to see, but I mean, come on. Anytime you and this goes back to the the WCW days. Anytime you see somebody holding up 9 out of 10 out of 11 or 11 out of 10 times, it was Goldberg getting ready to jackhammer somebody.
Yep.
So every time I see it, I'm like, oh. I mean, it's good. It's good to see it. I mean, he has the physical ability, the physical prowess for it. But I'm like, just a standing suplex. Come on.
No,
jackhammer. Do something.
Yeah, WWE needs a relook at Bobby Lashley. Get him away from Sami Zayn because that was just a hot mess of garbage, and put him against someone who could freaking throw punches with him. That could throw. You know what? I don't want Braun Strowman. You know who I really want?
Who?
I really want to see him go against darn it, I had it in my head for a second ago. Freaking world's greatest tag team, the gold standard.
Goldust?
No. Oh gosh, man. I'm drained right now. Cedric, not Cedric Alexander. Good God. Oh, that's horrible, dude, because
Shelton
I really
Benjamin?
like. Thank you, Shelton Benjamin.
He's on SmackDown.
By the way, if you're watching this show, feel free to put in the comments that Ken Johnson's getting old and his memory's shot. Okay, it's garbage. Yeah, I want him to go against Shelton Benjamin.
I would actually like to see that. That would.
I would pay top dollar to see them because they both have the same backgrounds. They both have the strength ability, and they both have moves, and they don't have to talk about it. They just go in there and freaking fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving on. Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn sucked. Which now gets to the IC championship. Rollins versus Elias. Great match.
It was. And like I said with TakeOver, this match can go either way with one other match with how good it was. Rollins is at the top of his game, and then throwing Elias in there. It was easily like razor thin 1 and 2 for match of the night. Easily,
Elias came through, and
he really did. I mean, I'm a fan of Elias, but I mean, I'm like, yeah, okay, Elias is cool. He has some good moves. Beat John Cena, this and that. He stepped his game up this match.
Yeah,
he really did, and I was thoroughly impressed with Elias.
When Corey Graves speaks highly or says anything positive about Elias, he did right.
Exactly.
Because I've seen Elias since day one from NXT, and that's when Corey Graves was doing the mic announcing. I don't know, call it what it is, but man, you could definitely tell Corey Graves did not like Elias's personality or angle in NXT. And it's carried over in the SmackDown. and to Raw, and to see him give kudos to Elias means that Elias is finally starting to make his move. The mic skills have obviously come along because you get people chanting "Walk with Elias" all the time. Even when he dumps on their city, they still root for him, which is hilarious. And just as a whole, that match was a great match. And to see Seth Rollins win by grabbing the belt,
you saw remnants of an old Rollins, like authority figured Rollins, which I thought was pretty brilliant in the way that they ended it that way. I'm not even mad. I mean, I wouldn't have been mad if Elias won the title either way. At first, Seth all the way, but with how much he stepped up, I wouldn't have been disappointed if he would have walked out with the title last night.
Yeah, well, I would have been kind of interested to see him actually win it because of the fact that I think he's gotten a lot of positive heat. He's not a face, but people still dig him. He's that
like anti-hero kind of
feel to him. And his in-ring skills have been really, really good. Like he's done night and day from NXT days. Like NXT, he had a hard time because I think at the time when he was in there was just too much talent. There was Finn Balor and stuff. I mean, you had Shinsuke, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens. You had a lot of solid talent. He was just kind of muddled along. And now the whole Drifter. They got rid of that Drifter persona. Now he just comes out and sings. And they figured out WWE, Walk with Elias. They got rid of all that, and now he's really come to shine. And he's not a jobber. He's not a mid-carder. He's getting borderline championship match quality, obviously. He's going to have a belt, and it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So... great match. Seth freaking Rollins on fire again. Couldn't go wrong. Pulling tights at the end just kind of made it better for Elias, though, too, because of the fact that now he's got that, hey, I won that freaking match. If it wasn't for Seth Rollins pulling my tights or pulling my belt, that would have been my championship. So it gives him better heat. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Elias over the next couple weeks. In fact, we'll be watching it on Raw as we're recording. So good job. Kudos. Probably also one of the top matches of the night, which we'll talk about at the end. Next match, women's Money in the Bank.
Way better than last year's.
Yes, I concur. Last year's, the problem with it is that you had the whole it's a first thing and you didn't know what to expect, and I don't think the women knew what to expect, and I even recall when after watching I was like, man, I think I've seen better matches without the Money in the Bank thing in the women's division. And this year, all the players were in there. Even Lana was freaking awesome in that match, man.
We've been saying this, and I know I've been saying this last couple weeks. Lana looks really good compared to what she was wrestling last year. Complete 180. She looks so much better. Her movesets are a lot more flowing.
She's still not up there belt quality.
She's not belt quality. I will give you that, but she's getting better. And not necessarily sooner rather than later. We could see her with a belt, but not for a good while. Not like too soon, but not like too far away.
The good thing about Lana in her position right now is the fact that she actually has her in-ring skills jumping. The fans are still with her. She's got Rusev Day, and now there's Lana Day. So they've got this going. So she doesn't have to be thrown into the matches every week. She could still work the outside and everything like that. But you could definitely see that WWE is finally, like, she's done enough to where you could see they have more faith for her in the ring.
Yes.
And it's getting much better. I'm very excited to see her future. She is definitely, she's not pulling a Carmella anytime soon. No. But she's definitely going to be hanging around, and I could see that when some people are eventually out of the limelight, when some people get close, who knows if people retire or move on or something. But she's going to be a fixture for the while in WWE, and because the fans are positive with it, and she's gonna have a belt at one time. She will have it. So, the Money in Bank as a whole, though, It was great from start to finish. I was very impressed with everybody's contribution.
Oh, absolutely.
It was awesome to see the pop that a lot of like Becky Lynch was getting a huge pop. Alexa Bliss got pop. I mean,
Amber
literally
Moon got
everybody.
pop. Everyone got pop.
Yeah, everybody in that match just was spot on. I'm looking forward to possibly seeing in the future Naomi versus Ember Moon. I think they're.
Okay. So
yeah.
So with that, we've been talking about this since like episode 1, episode 2, women's tag teams. I can see Naomi and Ember Moon as a dominant female tag team.
Absolutely. They need to start. I think WWE needs to start gunning for that. What's gonna end up happening is this: with all the talent they currently have right now, they're to the point where they can't afford not to have a tag team championship. They got to start doing something because because NXT is going to have this flow coming up pretty soon. We talked about it earlier that there's a gap, but they're starting to see there's going to be some more coming up here pretty soon. The Mae Young Classic, the second one's going to come around, and they're going to get more signings off that, and they're going to run into a spot where they're going to have too much, and they're going to lose somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to start developing tag team champions, even potentially developing a second belt, kind of like an IC or North America belt or something like that for each brand to give more fight, to give more or to give a goal, a carrot or something, because you now have Alexa Bliss now being a multiple-time champion just in this short period, 5-time champion. Sasha Banks.
Jumping ahead.
You got Sasha. That's funny. I just said Alexa Bliss, and all of a sudden my Alexa in the background goes off. Damn it. You got Charlotte Flair. You got Sasha Banks.
Natalia.
You got all the. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna talk about her in a second.
Okay.
But you've got all this talent that's just been up in the last 3 years that's already won 5 championships. I mean, and then you got Naomi with 2. You got Natalia with 2. But Natalia's been with the company for so long. Like I said, I'll talk about it in a second.
Mm-hmm.
They got to find something else. You can't waste this talent. Alicia Fox, to all her credit, she got a championship out of it. They could have did so much more with Alicia Fox, but there wasn't anything you could have did with Alicia Fox because there's only one freaking belt.
Yep.
So, Natalia, I'm heartbroken for Natalia.
I am too.
Natalia should get a belt run here soon. I know everyone wants Becky Lynch to win, but let's just throw this out and call a spade a spade. Natalia carried the women's division when it sucked.
She did.
She was the only pure wrestler. She was a 3rd generation. She uses the Hart name, which is fine because she's part of the Hart dynasty.
She's part of the family. She earns it, and that's one. And it's when you look back at some of like the biggest, namesake dynasties. That's one of them. The other one, you have the Samoan line, and then you also have the Ortons. When you think of like some of the big names,
so you got Natalia busting her ass, taking the doghouse whenever she was, training and developing these guys, jumping onto the freaking show, doing all this stuff. And you've got all these up-and-comers like Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Naomi. All these guys have won the same amount of championships she's won, and they've only been there for a third of maybe half the time. And I think Natalia's freaking due. Yeah. Like, I was really hoping they'd let her win Money in the Bank because it's about time she would. But, of course, the writers in WWE are going to go with the name that's hot. And Alexa Bliss is still hot. When she won that, everyone jumped on it.
I did too. But the minute she jumped on it, I already knew what was going to happen. And we'll get to that later on the show.
Absolutely.
Because that, for me, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I am happy that the Goddess won the Money in the Bank contract.
Sure. I mean, it is what it is. I was really hoping that because they were able to push
Natalia or Becky, but more so
exactly because Becky's been pushed and she's earned it. I think Natalia is long overdue for another belt, and WWE needs to find a way to get them a belt. If it's a tag team belt, if it's an individual belt, whatever it is, they got to find them a belt so she could, so they could, can continue going on. Because unfortunately, Talia isn't going to be the fabulous Moolah. She's not going to be there for 60 years.
No, she isn't.
It's not that day and age anymore. TJ is back home. I don't think he's ever going to wrestle again.
No, he's not, but he's doing more production stuff with the WWE.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's a good thing.
I've always been a fan of his, even back when he was wrestling too. So
yeah, I miss him wrestling.
I do too.
Yeah, but they do need to do something with Talia, because I think it's an epic shame that she's not getting the just due that she's deserved at this point. So. But women's Money in the Bank, as you said at the beginning, I would say at least twice as good as last year.
Absolutely.
Twice as good. They do a good job with everybody in there. So moving on to Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal. Now, I have said that Jinder Mahal is a great heel, and it was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start jumping on this bandwagon a little bit. I've said it before, and I'm going to jump on it again. I think it's time for the fans of the WWE to kind of just nut up and start giving Roman his due.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns has done nothing but come out and fight every night. Him, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, when they were the Shield and when they weren't, they just come out and do their damn job every night, and they do it with passion and everything. And I'm getting a little over the fans as far as them saying, all right, they keep booing him every night. It's getting less a little bit here and there, but there's still those hardcore fans that are saying he's Vince's boy.
Yeah, but he's not Vince's boy.
Exactly.
I mean, if anything, Brock's more Vince's boy than Roman is.
Oh God, yeah. We're not talking about Brock tonight, dude.
I know we're not. I'm just saying that. But even though more so the last couple weeks on Raw, I haven't seen Roman getting booed as much, and then when he came out, just the boos started. Even before he came out, I'm just like, really?
Yeah, it's
build a bridge and get over it.
Yeah,
Roman is here. Roman's here to stay, whether you like it or not. So just get on board and like it. Enough said.
Yeah, and it was a good match. It was a really good match. I think Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns. It came out of nothing. It was a match that they started patching together 3 weeks ago. I mean, that's literally what it came down to. It was one person interrupting the one match, one person interrupting another match, and there you go. You develop a match.
Yeah, and for what it was good. I with Roman, I like Roman. I really do. A lot of people hate him, but I like him.
Yeah.
He needs to get it kind of goes with the same. He needs a new moveset. It's not necessarily he's getting still. But it kind of is.
I can only take so many freaking Superman
punches and too many spears. He needs to get a new set of.
I will say though, that spear he gave on the out there.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Oh boy, that's.
If he wasn't supposed to be in a wheelchair before, he is now, dude. Yeah. That was a serious spear on the freaking outside there. Yeah, that was a good match. It was a good filler match. Once again, it could have been one of those matches that. Why did we need Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn? Exactly. The time. You could have pushed that down, and it was good, and it was good to fill in. It was interesting how you see the lineup. You had a tag team championship match in the pre-show. Daniel Big Cass, Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn, IC Elias, Women's Money in the Bank. That's the first women's match. Roman Reigns and Jinder, and then you go to the second women's match, which is Carmella versus Asuka. Yeah. You're yeah. Thank you, WWE, for proving my point with Carmella.
No, okay. I'm not mad about that. Carmella looked good. And honestly, the match she scoped out Asuka and she was taking it to Asuka. I mean, it was going back and forth. And it was building up and it was going to be a good match. It really was. But
no chin music.
Why? Why in the world are you bringing him back? I wish JBL was there and be like, get this freak out of here. You could have done so much more. You could have done it so much better if you didn't have Ellsworth come in and interrupt the match.
It could be anybody.
Really,
it could have been.
Could have done it with
Tony Storm. They're talking about signing Tony Storm.
Yeah,
they should have brought her in.
But you could have done it with Mandy Rose. You could have done it with Sonya Deville. You could have done it with the Iconics. Because at least with that, it has some validity, because that's kind of what's been building up on the SmackDown side of things. But out of nowhere to bring Ellsworth. Now, granted, I heard the rumor that he was supposed to be there, and I'm just like, why? Don't. Please don't. And then all of a sudden you see her thing up. I'm like, it's an Ellsworth. Yep. It's an Ellsworth. And yes, I'm censoring myself, so our producers don't have to do it later.
We're on Twitch. It's okay to throw it out once in a blue moon.
I mean, if you guys catch my stream, you see me rage all the time at Destiny. But
rage. Yeah. So here's okay. So the reason why they brought No Chin back is because, to be perfectly frank, and I said this in the pre-show, no one believes that Carmella on her best day could beat Asuka. Especially because when you saw her in NXT fight Asuka, it was a 10-second match. Yeah. So to sit there and say that your current SmackDown champion Carmella could beat someone who just in about a year and a half ago beat the crud out of her in 10 to 15 seconds or less, they needed something to make it go. And that's why you bring stupid No Chin back.
And I get that. But you could have done it that way so much better with Mandy Rose or Sonya Deville without bringing No Chin back.
Yeah, I'm just as frustrated as you with this, because
I will say this. It was some of the more fun comical acts with No Chin and AJ a couple years ago. So I just want to see those two run into each other and just AJ be like, what the hell are you doing here?
No, I don't want to even see him coming back, dude. Actually, you know what I would like to see? I would like to see him have a match. No, because he's not on Raw, unfortunately. I can't keep my hopes up.
Samoa Joe?
No,
just put him in the coquina clutch?
No, Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
I would like to see it, because I do remember one thing that happened at the end, and this goes on the whole, like, I'm waiting for them to start running the Daniel Bryan train. I'm waiting for them to start having that go high motion, because he didn't lose his belt, and his fan base, which is practically the entire WWE universe, is begging for matches to happen. I think that should be the first thing that should happen, is him have a match against No Chin, because he was talking so much smack at the end before he got fired. And then that sets off something against The Miz. I want to see it. Yeah. Everyone wants to see it. I want to see James Ellsworth's ankle break. And I'm not it's not going to happen, but hypothetically it happened.
It could.
It could, but I don't wish that upon people.
I know.
But
the match part,
I wish it would.
The match part we want to see it, but the hypothetically breaking of someone's ankle we don't want to see.
No, yeah, exactly. And the whole thing, the Carmella and Asuka match was actually better than I expected. You are right. Carmella definitely had a better fight going on there. I think she's got too mushe Botox going up her lip, though. I mean, there's something going on with that upper lip, man. It's kind of doing something weird.
Money.
She in all credit, as much as I dump on her, she had a great match. She really did. It's just so sad that once again the writers or whoever it is has to bring in someone like James Ellsworth to ruin the whole damn match. I would have been totally perfectly fine after watching that match, watching Mello walk out with the belt with a clean win. I would have been fine. It's not believable, but I would have been all right.
And I think that, and to your point, I know that's exactly why they did it. They could have done it so much better, as I've been saying, with like the Iconics, Sonya Deville, or Mandy Rose.
Yeah, because I don't know what's going to happen now. Right now, the women's division on SmackDown is a mess because they just don't. The person that everyone wants to win, Becky Lynch, is not even in the running. The person that should have the belt doesn't win it because of James Ellsworth. Carmella should still not be the champion because of the simple fact that all she has going on for her is the heat. Other than that, if she didn't have so much heat, she's just a jobber. She's just she just doesn't have the pull to hold a belt like that. So you bring in James Ellsworth, who's now
she
her
kind
pet.
of does. I mean, she kind of does when looking at her coming into the main roster. She had that little feud with Nikki Bella that led into the feud between Nikki and Natalya, but that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, that was a couple years ago, man. I mean, all this stuff has come up recently, and they're still holding Becky Lynch back.
I know.
So I'd be interested to see where they go, but it's going to be very difficult for me to see Carmella holding on to a belt when you have Naomi, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Asuka, even Lana coming. Lana's going to be a year or two, but just those four names I mentioned right there should all have a belt in their hand. They're all deserving to have a belt.
Whether it be the women's championship or the illustrious and our luminous tag team belts that we want. Women.
The magical tag team belts that we keep trying to push. Ding.
Sparkle.
But it was a good match, and I'd be interested to see what they do on SmackDown tomorrow night to kind of see where they push. Okay, well, you know what's going to happen. Mel's going to come out there and moonwalk, and James Ellsworth, blah blah.
As long as Ellsworth's not on the collar chain, I'll be. I won't want to see it, but it'll make it a little bit more not unbearable. If you didn't get what I mean.
Okay, we spent.
But anyway,
yeah. Next match, long pay-per-view. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, that's next match.
It was.
It was. Don't act.
That's right.
Yeah, and holy crap! No.
It's the razor thin match between that.
Yeah. I think the ending is what got it for me, man. That whole freaking off the just flying over stuff. Holy crap. Yeah. It was exactly the match we wanted to see.
Now, granted, it was a great match. It was. Marty, if you're watching this, you can kill me later for saying this. I think this rivaled one of, I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 11 match that they had, that Nakamura and Styles had before New Japan. For me, it kind of rivaled that with how good it was. That's me.
Well, Marty's not here to talk about it because he's on assignment. So you get away with it.
So I get away with it.
But Marty can put something in the comments if he wants to.
I don't really care what Marty has to say about that. But no, it was everything that we wanted in the fight.
Absolutely. It was what I wanted from the very start, and none of this low blow, Shinsuke, whatever. It was
I mean, we saw it in the match, but we saw the pent up anger finally cultivate at the end where, he's like, come on, you can't get me now. And AJ's just like, okay. Just a swift kick. Oh,
yeah.
It was so satisfying.
I'm actually excited for this rivalry to be moved on because I think it actually, to be perfectly frank, tarnished more Shinsei as far as his image right now. I want them to take a break with him. I want him to leave for a hot minute, collect his thoughts, come back with, because his music's awesome. I love his entrance, his new music and stuff. But I want him coming back as Shinsuke Nakamura, who's afraid of his fighting skills, who does unorthodox stuff in the ring,
but ultimately king of strong style that we know him to be.
Absolutely, not the king of low blows. I don't want to see the king of low blows. That's a bad X-rated movie. I want to see Shinsuke just come back and just be the guy that we want him to be. That was in NXT. That just was a phenomenal, played for the fans. None of this. I mean, if you're going to make him a heel, make him a legit heel. Don't make him someone who has to resort to low blows.
Exactly.
Because he's much more than that.
Exactly. And I know me and you have talked about this in past shows. Like, you could have made him as a heel character completely different compared to the low blow guy.
Absolutely. You could have made him just a badass striker.
You could have, but I mean, it was a satisfying ending to this rivalry with it. And I kind of expected AJ to retain. We kind of knew that was going to happen just based on all the and all that stuff. And you know what? It's still the house that AJ Styles built.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where SmackDown goes with the championship because I don't know.
I even though we'll get to this match a little bit later on.
Yeah,
I would love to see a program for the title between The Miz and AJ. I think that would be amazing.
I think
that sets up Bryan and The Miz later on.
Yeah, I think that would be, but I don't think they're going to go. I think they're going to start. They got to start cultivating The Miz and Daniel Bryan now versus waiting for a belt, because right now, here's what you got. AJ is the face of SmackDown. There's no question about it. So to have him lose the belt to Miz, not a good call right now. And the only reason I said it, it's not because Miz isn't a worthy champion. I can't wait for him to have a belt again. I don't care what belt it is. I like him when he's a champ. I just think that they need to start harnessing that Miz Daniel Bryan hatred that should be started already. They've waited 3 months for it. They got him through Big Cass. For God's sake, start the rivalry. Build it up to SmackDown. That's one of your main events for SmackDown.
It is. It really is.
Not for SmackDown, SummerSlam, excuse me.
Yep.
So let's move on. We got a couple more matches left. Now we have the Raw Women's Championship, Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Now, I was going to wear my Ronda Rousey shirt tonight, but I felt that wearing Triple H would be better because NXT just was an awesome show.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this. I was very impressed with Ronda's performance against Nia Jax.
I was too. I mean, it started out like we expected, Nia just coming out and dominating like she normally does. But once Ronda kind of slowed it down and got the match, got herself going, she got a freaking judo hip toss
on Nia Jax. Absolutely.
And not to say that it's an incredible feat, but it's
a good feat there. Yeah.
It's like I was really impressed with the match.
Well, now what I liked about the match, what impressed me with Ronda Rousey wasn't the match itself as much as what she took damage wise.
Oh,
she was taking a lot of hits and damage, and it's something I was kind of concerned about at first because there's a certain art to receiving in the ring. To take the blows, to take the whatever kind of shots, the corner smashes, anything like that. There's a certain way to receive that and to show it, and to sell it in a sense, if you want to call it that. If you're watching this podcast, you know what wrestling's all about, and that not everything in there is things are set up a certain way. They're choreographed. Let's just throw it out there. But there's still injury. There's still risk. And there's still a selling point to it. And Ronda Rousey had it last night.
Oh,
she had it. She almost had a couple wardrobe malfunctions too. So they got to work on some other stuff. But as a whole, that match was awesome because Ronda sold it.
She did.
She sold it.
She did.
It was just.
She really did.
Yeah, and she came out, smiles. The minute she hit the ring, fight. And it was a great match. And, what are your takes on it before we go to the twist at the end?
It was good. It exactly your point. She sold it. And that's part of the business, is being able to sell the damage. If you look back over the years you see multiple people, receive the Stone Cold Stunner, and who was one of the best to sell that stunner?
The Rock.
And in a close second, Shane McMahon.
Yep.
Easily the best ways to sell it. Now, I'm not saying and she sold it. We're talking about The Rock up here.
I get what you're saying. You get
what I'm saying.
Yeah, like anytime you watch a documentary, like when you watch Ric Flair or anything like that, he says his best matches are the ones, like let's say with Ricky the Dragon or whatnot, because of the fact that they sold it. Like there's certain people that everyone wants to wrestle because they know that when they go out there, they're going to sell what happens.
And it comes down to wrestling. Like a lot of people say, well, it's the wrestling skill, it's the mic skills. Well, actually, you can throw the third one in there, and it goes 33, 33, 33. You need to be good on the mic. You need to know how to wrestle. You need to know how to sell.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the finesse arts of, sports entertainment in itself, is being able to sell it. And did just that. Over the top rope, and when she hit hard.
Oh, yeah.
Hard. And the way she sold, I was just like, I couldn't tell, like, is she really in pain or?
There was that one where she fell through the middle rope.
That's that's the one. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And it's like usually when someone falls to the middle rope, they'll catch the bottom, they'll kind of roll out and everything. She went straight out and when like touched nothing, went right on her back, and I was like, "Holy crap, what the hell?" And she got around, man, and she took that baseball swing.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball bat swing Nia gave her, ran her right into the side rail. She took that like a champ as well.
She took that thunderous Samoan drop out of nowhere.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
And then she goes up to the top rope and does a flying body press.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really, I was really impressed when she did.
Some spots, and I'm thoroughly impressed with it. Really impressed with it.
And I really thought that there was a possibility that they might let her win the belt.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Up until today, or up until Money in the Bank. And then you saw the writing on the wall the minute the Money in the Bank match happened, because then sure enough, here comes Alexa Bliss. It's the only way that match was going to happen. And the reason why is because WWE doesn't want Ronda Rousey having a loss. At the same time, though, they don't want her having the belt right now.
Exactly.
Because she's just starting. And so how do you fix it?
Alexa Bliss.
Cash in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, and going back to before that, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. The place erupted. I'm so happy that she has her title. And that's and honestly, it's like you said, it was the only logical outcome. Like the other one I thought was thinking about, leading up to it is like, well, I mean, are you really going to give it to Ronda? But at the same time, you don't want her to lose. So and that's where I thought, well, they could give it to Natalya and have Natalya kind of do that churn on her friend for, sorry, you're my friend, but this time is not my time kind of thing now. But now
I gotta give kudos to Marty before you continue, because Marty was the person that said that the only logical solution out of this, and this was about 2-3 weeks ago, after they announced the match, was that someone cashes in that night. They can't let her lose. They can't let her win. Someone had to do it. And so she won the match by disqualification. So she's still undefeated. So that means that she's going to probably come about and asking for a title match, because she never, quote, lost the match. And then, of course, now you have Alexa Bliss that comes in the fold and ends up taking the championship.
Because Alexa hitting Ronda, Nia was the one that was DQ'd. So
exactly. So she's still undefeated. She has a legitimate beef for having a title match. More than likely, I could kind of foreshadow SummerSlam as being Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss in the triple threat match, because they both have gripes and beefs about it and everything. Being that I've seen part of Raw, I'm just going to hold my tongue and bite it.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that, you don't have to wait long in Raw to kind of see what happens.
Cool.
Alexa Bliss taking the championship. I mentioned earlier, it's got its pluses and minuses. Pluses are simply fact. She's hot right now. She's got good heat. People like her regardless of how she is. Her persona is. She's supposed to be a heel, but at the same time,
she's an anti-hero.
Yeah, I don't even think she's anti-hero though. That's the thing. Going back, Elias is anti-hero because of the fact that people like him for griping. Alexa's just a straight bitch, but it works. That's the thing. It works.
Resting Bliss face.
Yeah. Yeah. And to see, once again, I've seen her from her NXT days where she comes in as Alexa Bliss as a little pixie fairy sliding through the ropes and throwing glitter everywhere. And now she's like one of the top women in wrestling. The goddess. Yeah, absolutely.
Marty is going to hate me for saying this. I don't really care. He's not here. God's great creation, Alexa Bliss. She's the goddess. Marty, if you're listening, yes, I said that. What up?
Yeah, and he's gonna put comments of Mandy.
Bring it. Calling you out, Marty.
Yeah, it was. Now it was nice to see the Money in the Bank cash in, because we haven't seen it in a while as far as same night. It's been a while. But then it also brought a lot of like hate because it leads up to the final match, the Money in the Bank match for the men, where there wasn't a possibility of the men cashing in the Money in the Bank as well. I do think, and this is where, depending on you just had a feeling that Raw was going to sweep it. Raw has been having issues lately with their shows being a little lackluster.
I really didn't think it was going to be a sweep with Raw winning both sides of it. I really thought leading up to it, it was going to be the Miz or I really did, just based on 1-1. I can't say I'm surprised at the outcome of the last match. I mean, based on how it started, I was just like, I thought it was the Miz, but in the back of my head, I was like, are they really going to do it with Braun? With the way how they gained up on everybody, but then Braun comes up out of nowhere and then just steamrolls everybody.
Okay, so let me tell you, when you watch a 385-pound man running full force and breaking a ladder in half, running through it, is awesome. It's awesome.
It was.
So the first gripe I have about Money in the Bank is they did not give Xavier his push. Why they didn't give him his push is beyond me. They even Corey Graves said something to the effect of that Kofi now ties for the most Money in the Bank appearances, and then Corey Graves says, "Well, how many has he won?"
Yeah,
0. And I'm not hating on Kofi. I love Kofi. I love New Day. But I think Xavier really does need to have that push, as he is the one guy out of the group that hasn't won a championship in WWE yet. And yet he's the one who I think out of the three is right now having the hottest. He's busting it out there right now. It was Kofi being the guy who makes all the moves, but lately it's been Xavier doing all the moves inside the ring. And the Big E's been eating more pancakes than anything. So I was really hoping that Xavier would have got the push, but it was Kofi.
For a second there, I really thought it was when he started walking down. I was like, "Oh shit, it is going to be."
Yep,
it is going to be. And then he's like, "Kofi." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, I can respect it, being Kofi, and I can kind of see why they went with Kofi Angle. Because he's the one that has the most experience, and if that's
now Kofi had a great match.
Oh, he did. He had a fantastic match.
And did you see that? Did you see when Braun Strowman slammed him onto the ladder, and it was his upper back hitting the side of it wasn't full, like when they hit the ladder, it's their whole back taking both sides. It was his upper back taking that one side of the ladder. I thought he was done for the night. That just looked brutal. That match didn't, to be honest, though, it didn't have a lot of the brutality that it normally does.
About?
No, not the normal. Now you take away the Kevin Owens falling off the freaking tallest ladder kind of thing. I mean, but we've seen that between Shane McMahon dropping off the Titantron and people jumping off Hell in a Cell. But when you look at in comparison to the brutality that you've seen in other ladder in the matches,
Randy Orton just arcane everybody off the top ladder.
Absolutely, yeah. Or just
bam,
or just the craziness of people getting like flipped off the top of ladders and Matt Hardy and all this. It didn't have as much as, and I think that goes to the B factor.
No, I don't think it has to do with the B factor. For me, I think the reason being was the amount of talent you had, which is why, not to take anything away from the ladies' Money in the Bank match, we did see some good spots, but not like as many spots or as crazy as spots we thought we'd see. Yeah, there were still some good spots. I mean, same thing with the men's, but I think it had to do primarily not because of the B factor, but because of the amount of talent in the ring at the same time.
Yes and no. And the reason why I say that, and actually, no, I'm going to take the yes out. I'm just going to say no. And the reason why is because Money in the Banks always have the best talent. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Every Money in the Bank match they have the best talent going.
Oh no, I know, no, I'm not doubting that.
I actually think
have the best talent. What I'm saying was, instead of some of the past Money in the Bank matches where it's only 6 guys, you had 8. You had more guys in there. So because you had more guys, and with the time that the entire match spanned out, you didn't have necessarily time to have a lot more of the brutality.
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing though, man. When people watch Money in the Bank, we've been so used to seeing Jeff Hardy flying off the top and drilling somebody,
TLCs.
or the constant ladders getting stacked up between ring announcer or the commentary position, the ring, and people going through them. Like there's multiple ladders getting broken. There's people getting destroyed by getting just like freaking going back to.
There was some of that.
I mean, there was no, but it wasn't in as much as what you see in one match. That's what I think that match was really.
I get what you're saying, and that's where I'm sticking by my reasons. I ain't changed my
mind. Yeah. Now Kevin Owens, man, give the guy credit. That dude went through the tallest ladder, went through a table. Wasn't Tommaso Ciampa going through a freaking table in concrete though, man? Let me tell you, NXT baby. But Kevin Owens sacrificing the body. Yep. But to me,
I liked how sneaky the Miz was when they were all attacking Strowman at the beginning.
Yes,
and he ran in and tried to.
Yes,
I wouldn't like. I think people would have been pissed, but I would have been like, "Wow, that quick!" And the match is over, and they did it that way. I would have actually been happy with that, just because I'm a fan of the Miz and just the way it's set up. But at the same time, I know people would have been pissed off because it wasn't the actual match. Know
what? I bet you money if we had a big enough following on our Twitter and we put a thing on there and say, what if this would have happened? What would you have happened? I guarantee a majority of those people would have said that would have been phenomenal because that's the one thing you kind of forget.
You expect with the Miz, he's sneaky.
Yeah, but not only that though, when you watch when is some of the biggest things happen that you were like, holy what just happened? Like, for example, The Undertaker losing. No one expected that. He lost, and everyone lost their, they were like, what the hell? What happens when you're sitting here and you're watching everyone gang up on Braun Strowman, dump all these ladders, and all of a sudden you hear ding, ding, ding because Miz already grabbed the damn thing and he's running out the door. Dude, I would have dropped him. It would have been the best ending. It would have been the best because then you could have had Braun Strowman come out and just start beating the hell out of people and be pissed and all that stuff.
And not realizing that the matches ended, so beating the hell out of everybody. And then he goes to climb up and he sees it gone. And then you see the Miz's music, him walking out with the briefcase, and then just end the show that way. That would have been brilliant.
That would have been, that would have showed originality. But unfortunately, the writers haven't been showing too much originality. And in this Money in the Bank, when they brought in Samoa Joe, I said it. I thought there was I'm going to say there was too much beef. And what I mean by too much beef is that you didn't see Braun Strowman going on a ladder until the very end when he needed to. You didn't see Samoa Joe do a lot of ladder stuff as much as he swung the ladder. You saw a couple things, but these big guys like Kevin Owens is the one that did the biggest sacrifice. But the guy who wins the damn match doesn't even he runs through one, which was awesome. But they didn't really use these ladders as much as they have been used before. And you didn't see a lot of brutality. You saw some, but it wasn't like straight up like a guy. You saw a guy and then he gets thrown through a ladder and you don't see him for the rest of the match. Everyone was somebody's
still on the Chicago street fight high. That's where all this brutality is coming from.
No. It's because
you smile and say no.
I smile and say no because Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano were sick. But once again, it was just I'll give it to you to a point where 8 people I think is too much. But at the same time, though, you need to have guys that could do some crazy shit on these ladders. Sorry, edit that out, but you need to have that.
Yeah,
you got to have it.
Believe me. I see the point you're making, but I'm sticking with my point as to.
Yeah. See, and that's what's good about Malice Smack Talk. He disagrees with me. I disagree with him. Everything's right with the world, and Marty can't say anything because he's on assignment.
How's that assignment?
So Marty, put it in the comments.
Yeah,
suck it, Marty.
Yeah, every you know what? He's not even here to defend himself, so I'm going to say this. Blow up Marty on Twitter, guys. Marty Vasquez 87 added on his Twitter feed. Blow him up. Do it. I don't care. You say this, that Alexa Bliss is God's greatest creation just to piss him off. Please do that for me.
Now, in all fairness, though, on assignment means that he did have something come up and he couldn't make it. Of course, he'd be here if he could.
Yeah.
And so this is all in jest. We know that when we do our next show, Marty's going to rip us to shreds. So it's all good. We've already got it lined up.
We know he's going to rip us to shred, but please, 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 I am sending everybody on a witch hunt. You do this, I will be following you back on Twitter myself. That's what I'm doing. You roast Marty. You tell him I sent you. Tell him that Alexa Bliss is God's greatest creation, and I will personally follow you back.
Nice. Okay, that's it. So we'll put that out there. But once again, I just want to follow up with Marty and everything. Marty, we're with you, buddy. We love you. Prayers out to you and stuff, and we'll be chatting with you next time we come out there. We just got to give you crap because we know that if you were on cast right now, you'd be ripping us to shreds now anyway. So might as well get our chucks in. We'll call it Shinsuke low blow. How about that? Now, once again, I've seen a little bit of the Raw match at the beginning, so we're not gonna go into that tonight, guys. But as a whole, your final matches, your final say on the Money in the Bank. I'm gonna start on this one first. My top 3 matches for this pay-per-view. Number 1, no joke, Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. Big Cass sold me number 1. He did. I'm always a fan of Daniel Bryan, but Big Cass is kind of like the Oni Lorcan and whatnot with the NXT. He sold the match. That's my number 1. Number 2 was Elias and Rollins. Once again, Razor Edge with that. And really, I'm going to say AJ Styles and Shinsuke was also number 2. It's a tie for 2. Like, regardless of whatever outcome or thing you could have, you could totally take the 5 matches to the 6 matches we talked tonight and make probably one of the best pay-per-views of all time. And these 3 matches as a whole, thank God they were placed where they were at, because if they were all at the beginning or the end, I probably would have fell asleep and not seen the rest of the freaking matches. These 3 matches, to me, held up the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which got dominated by pay-per-view the night before that had half the matches.
And that leads into why I'm only doing a complete top 5 matches of the entire weekend. Like I said, it's like the middle of the show. Razor thin edge going back and forth between 1 and 2. And that's the Chicago street fight with Gargano and Chapo. And then number 2 being
Ricochet and the Dream. Yeah.
And throwing it into number 3 as that crossfaded one, being the AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura match. Number 4 for me will be the NXT tag titles.
Yep.
And then number 5 finishing out Seth Rollins and Elias.
Nice. Yeah. All in all, the weekend was good. Yeah, it was definitely freaking WrestleCon for us. It was definitely a great weekend. I kudos to once again the WWE for having a great weekend like that, and definitely kudos to Triple H for once again beating up on the big team. It's just a matter of time before they give you the reins and stuff gets crazy. Once again, we were brought to you by Malice Corp. Once again, the top left-hand corner, there's where you can follow us. You can see MindFreaks. You can see mine. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and on Instagram for Malice Corp Smack Talk. Feel free, for you guys watching us, feel free to give us some 5-star reviews if you like our show. Put comments in there for us, please. We're just trying to make this better. As you can tell, we're guys that just love talking about wrestling. And we hope you're enjoying the show. Pretty soon, if things keep moving, we might actually upgrade and actually have cooler lights or maybe cooler speakers and not so much dorky headphones like we're about to go video game on low budget PS4 or something. I don't know. But we love you guys.
Talk about low budget. These are Astro 850s, boyo. These aren't low budget. Come on now. I'm a streamer.
Well, these are definitely low budget because I got a kid.
Yeah.
But hey, thank you so much for everyone who's watching our show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. We'll be back in a couple days to do our recap of Raw and SmackDown after Money in the Bank. We've got the next major pay-per-view for WWE is going to be Extreme Rules, which is one of my favorites. And then like we mentioned in the past, New Japan Wrestling, TNA, all the Ring of Honor, we're all going to get this stuff in there as well. So please, if you have any suggestions or comments or anything, please put it down below. We thank you very much. From MindFreak and I and Marty, who's on assignment, give us that 3 count. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.